Making the Invisible Visible, Black Women 365 days of the year. Each day will spotlight a remarkable woman whose story has shaped Black, British or global diasporic history, women whose achievements are too often overlooked. Through these daily short films, we create a living, breathing archive of leadership, creativity, resistance and legacy. Let's begin.
My name is Adwoa Botchey and I am one half of Adeche Atelier, a multi-award-winning creative studio that I co-founded with my partner Solomon Adebiyi. Together we're artists, storytellers and educators working at the intersection of African mythology, folklore, spirituality and visual culture with an audience of over 500,000 across social platforms. But beyond any title, I see myself as a cultural storyteller. Much of our artwork is driven by questions around what has been misrepresented or left out of mainstream imagination. I'm especially interested in how African stories and spiritual systems can be reintroduced with care and accessibility. The energy I try to bring is one of curiosity. I want people to feel that African mythology, folklore and culture are not distant or inaccessible, but living active worlds of knowledge, creativity and meaning. Day to day, my work moves between research, painting, content creation, writing, or attending events and panels. Some days I'm reading through folk tales and academic texts. Other days I'm in the studio painting with Solomon, building on our artwork inspired by deities and stories from across the African continent and diaspora. A lot of our work is about translation, not in the literal sense, but in the sense of taking complex cultural ideas and finding ways to make them feel clear, beautiful, and emotionally resonant. That might become a painting, a social media video, a podcast episode, a workshop, or a conversation with an institution. What matters most to me is integrity. I care deeply about how stories are handled, and I want the work to be accessible but never flattened. The aim is to always create work that invites people in while honouring the depth of where the stories come from. One project that really shaped me was working with the National Gallery. Being invited into such a historic institution while bringing our own lens rooted in African mythology and culture felt significant. It made me think more deeply about what it means to enter institutional spaces without losing your voice. Because often African stories are either absent from these spaces or framed through an external gaze. So that experience reminded me that our work has the ability to shift how people encounter mythology, art history and cultural knowledge. It also reinforced the importance of taking up space with care and confidence. Something people might not see at first glance is how much research, emotional labour and responsibility sits behind the work we do. Because the final result may look beautiful or feel engaging online, it can be easy to miss the level of thought that goes into how we frame each story. For me, this work is about representation, yes, but it's also about accuracy and care. African mythology and spirituality has often been demonized or reduced to spectacle, so I feel a responsibility to approach the subject with both creativity and sensitivity. I also wish more people recognize that softness and seriousness can exist together. You can make work that is visually beautiful and joyful while still being intellectually rigorous and culturally grounded. I'm learning to acknowledge small wins more intentionally. When you're building something long-term, especially something creative, it can be easy to focus on what still needs to be done. There's always another script to write, another painting to finish, or another idea to develop. But I try to remind myself that momentum is not only found in big milestones. Sometimes it's in a thoughtful comment from someone who feels seen by our work, or sometimes it's having a meaningful conversation, or even realizing that an idea which once felt impossible is slowly becoming real. So for my well-being, I'm trying to honor rest as part of the work, rather than a reward after everything is complete. I stay motivated by returning to the bigger purpose, that our work is helping people reconnect with stories, their culture, their heritage, and worlds that deserve to be known. So that sense of purpose keeps me grounded, especially when process feels slow.
Thank you for joining us for today's story. Making the Invisible Visible is our commitment to ensuring that Black women's histories and contributions are recognised, valued and kept in daily circulation. Across 2026, we will continue to share these powerful narratives, 365 days of impact, brilliance and inspiration. Stay connected, join the conversation, and help us champion the women whose journeys continue to shape our world. I'm Paulette Brooks, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow for the next story.